And welcome back to day 2 of Rail Trek Secluded City. So anyone who saw the end of day 1 realises that I literally just made these because I was coming to do day 2, or was just editing day 1 and came to do day 2, and unfortunately the end of day 1 had not taken, so I apologise about that. So instead of going straight into making all the small pieces, I'm actually going to skip that and go into making the frames because I want to use these lights and they're the only thing that we use from day 1, and so I want to get those done and made. So I have not rubbed any of this down, and that's probably to my detriment, I'm sure. Yeah, probably. It was a day, what can I say? It happens, right? Okay, first of all we're going to start off with one of these, and we are going to just glue on one of these on the top. I really should rub it down. Where is my little thing? Hold on. Okay, so let's start that again then. Alright, so you're going to take this piece and you're putting this one on top, like so. One piece, this one, the one with just 3 holes on. I didn't mark one of them, didn't mark one. Did go ahead and fill up my glue while I was sanding. Well, not quite at the same time, that would have been quite the mess, wouldn't it? And then something like so. Just line it up to the back, not the front. And you should be able to see the little holes through here. Then what you're going to do, there are 2 different types of these. There's ones with longer ends, that's the easiest way to tell the difference, and these 2 are shorter. The 2 shorter ones go one in here and one over here. I think you're going to need glue for all of them, certainly for these 2. I'd imagine for all of them, they're not feeling like it's going to be particularly a tight fit. And these are both the same length. So the 2 shorter ones go in here, and then the longer ones go with the long side going down through the holes in the bottom there. So again, just going to pop a tad of wood glue on the bottom. I'm just so cruel, aren't I? She's so funny. I don't particularly want to go in the holes. Okay, now we've got it going. Okay, lift you up a little bit. Juliet, you don't need anything right now. You really don't. Hold on. Those long ones, by the way, are not easy to go in. I'm going to take one of these short ones out. Get this one in. It takes quite a bit of manoeuvrability to get them in there. It's a reasonably tight fit, so whether you need glue or not is a different story. But they're definitely quite a tight fit, like I say. Well, that one was a bit easier. Put you back in. And you lost your glue. Okay, and then the last one. They're in. Okay, patience, right? Patience. And then on top will be the one with the holes on top here. So again, just gonna glue them, and this has to go in on all of them. Not sure I know the easiest way to do this really. Maybe this way. Get that one out. too bad, not too bad, guys, not too bad. And that's what you end up with. Then you are going to put in these two ones, and see there's a tab down here. You want that tab going in trying to see which way they've changed it on me. In here, but this looks very different to mine. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, you have your three top ones, then we have to put in another one of these. I think it's identical, I think so. Yeah, another one of these on top. Okay. Really trying to understand. Hold on. Okay, didn't have the right piece, so I pulled more than one because we're doing more than one of these. Next time it'd be quicker. So this is what's going to go on the top here. There's this thin piece. So it marries up to the front. No, it marries up to the back as well. So it looks something like so on the side. With basically a clip, place to put the clip. I'm thinking, with that poking out. That's a bit tricky to see. You want it going over the holes there. Holes. Okay, let's get this on, and I think the next pieces will tell us where it really should have gone. And they show photos, so you think it would be easy, right? Not so much. Oh, bent my pin, of course. Okay, so let's put it on somehow. And then these pieces, the bigger ones here, will go on the sides so that this tab is down into it. So let's see if we can make this work. I need one on each side. It's a bit tricky to know, you know. And it looks like it's thingied on the back. I think it just goes in like here. Makes me think that this piece is wrong, but it's not. It's definitely the way it should be. So I think this goes at the front, a little bit back from the front. Okay. So something like so, and then these pieces go in here. I'm not getting it, don't understand what they're trying to do. So it's even with this edge. I think this is how it's meant to be going. And this one clips in. It's actually really, really tricky to tell from the photograph. I think it's something similar to that. And the same with this one. Wearing the pin. New decoration. New type of jewellery. I couldn't actually 100% swear that this is right, and we have to make more than one of these. And we need 2 more C10s, which are going to go in those holes. This is not an easy task. It's a bit confusing, I have to be honest. There'll be glue on each end. Now make to point inwards. I reckon it'd be easier to get them in here and then reattach. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to give that a few minutes to dry and gather some patience. Put the other side on too. You can see where my patience levels are going right now. Maybe I should use some different glue, but I don't want to use different glue because if it's wrong, this is easier to amend it. To use different glue, or just sit here and hold this until it takes, or break it. That'd be even better, right? Okay, you go over here for a moment. We found another pot because I should have more. I'm going to get this one in here. Right, I'm going to use different glue. I'm going to go and grab some patience from the side there, and I will be back to put different glue on. Alright, let's get this done. So I'm going to make this whole thing off of the base here. So I'm going to use super glue, of all the things for me to use. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to use hopefully a small bit. Alright, so, sorry about the phone call. Got that one in, just going to get these other 2 on here, and I'm just going to make this whole thing up. So you have also some vertical ones going to go on here as well. So I'm just going to use super glue. I did think about using B7000 as well, but can't we just go with super glue? It's a bit, I don't want to stick to it either. Okay, I'm obviously trying to put that one on wrong. Let's put this one on too. Give those a second to take. And put the other side on, and then these ones go right down the middle on both of them. Just making sure that we have this the same direction. So like so. And then I'll get the other ones put in. Did I put any on here? Yeah, a little bit. Postman just came, so I just got to go and see what it is. She's definitely having her puppy moments today. I don't know if I put enough on any of these. Might be running a bit low. It was looking so good. It was all lining up perfect. These 2 are in. What's this bottom one? Oh, that bottom one as well. let these sit and then do the other ones. And I have to make 2 of these. It seemed quite the nightmare, really. Don't like it. You know, that patience I went and found, I think it just depleted instantly. Wants to stick to me there. Something like so. Let me give that a moment to sit there as well. Can't spend all day doing just the frames. And then what we do is we have these pieces are with the flat part upwards. So again, this has the thing at the bottom for here. So you want one like that and one like so. Let me give that a minute though, and I'll get this other piece mended because we're going to need that for the next window. Alright, so I didn't record me finishing this up, but that's probably just as well. But fortunately, I haven't fully finished this one, so when I notice. So this, what I've done is I've made up the frame. I use B7000 for this. I don't think it looks right. It does not look right. So I'm just going to move that around. It should definitely be pointing this way. Put the 2 strips, so they have 2 longer strips, done that to square it up a little bit beforehand, and then I am going to put this all together. So this is not correct, so I'm going to get that rectified, and it wasn't fully dry, so that was handy. So it looks something like so, and those are in. So then what this does is it goes up to the wooden areas here. This build, or part of the build, has not overly been my friend, I have to be honest. See, I don't think that's right either. I think it needs to be like I had this one was actually correct and it's this one that was wrong. But because it's B7000, it has a bit of manoeuvrability. So we can do it like this. And it wasn't fully dry, so handy Harry. So it'll look a bit more like that. Then when it goes on here, you see those sides, and the sides will attach to here. Still a nightmare, absolute nightmare. I don't like it, I don't like the design whatsoever. I don't remember, even though I've done one like this before, me having as many problems with the windows as I've had with this one. So something like so. I'm going to get that in and get that all squared off. So let's get that sorted. I'm going to carry on use B7000, and then we'll put the top parts in and we can do all that together. So I want it on here. It goes up a little way. Get rid of the string. And then go around this edge, and let's see if we can get that right. So it would have helped if I'd put it on right, to be honest with you, but I did not. Okay. this part here goes on here. So if you'd seen the other one, you knew I had a lot of trouble with that. And then just line that up to here and here. And that should be okay. Then pop one of these on top. Literally on top of where it is. And you want it to match up. You want these strips here in the middle to go to it as well. So I'm just going to squeeze those in for a moment and down. Like I say, it's not been the easiest thing, but the good news from your point of view, because yet again the video messed up, is we'll get more done. I think it's when I go off into other things, while I'm waiting for things to dry, I get off and do other things, and then think that it's still paused, and it ends up just turning it off. Maybe that's what happens. I'm sure it's user error, I don't think it's anything else. Could be my computer, but it's probably more user error. And that's going to sit like so, with a reasonable gap, because once it's dry, so we go back to this one, we will be putting this little sign on. So let's do that. I'm going to carry on just using B7000 as I've got it to hand. And this hopefully will square it right along on the outside. And I'll do that one as well. It does not look straight, does it? This inside one definitely isn't straight. But I get this on because then we can hopefully straighten up. Even though it's only paper, it will give us hopefully a decent foundation for it to hold on. We will leave that all to dry before we start putting things inside, and we need to make a lot of things to go inside, and I have one more window to make as well, so, but a different type. So you make two identical, like these ones are literally identical to each other. So we look something like so from the front. She says, this would have helped if it was straighter, but it is not. A bit better. Okay, so something like so for the two of them. And then they both have different things inside. So as you can see, one has some parcels and things. They also both have a small light and a larger light, which will stick to each of them individually. And then that will leave one of the smaller lights. So I'm assuming what happens is you will flatten these out like so. So that's what sticks to the top of it. And the same with this. So I was going to get that ready. I think we could probably put them in actually. We're going to use B7000 anyway. But then we will give it a minute before we put things in on the bottom, and we also have to make things, but I think we'll do the other window first. Shop front first. Okay, so taking the roof, so where we put that sign, we want it facing this way, and you want the bigger one this side, the bigger one this side, and the smaller one that side. So it's going to be interesting, and you want them quite close to the middle where the bars are coming down. looking at it the way they have it, with the ceiling towards me, being on this side, and the smaller one over here. Oh, where's tweezers? There it is. Oh, sorry, pull it apart. Don't put pressure on when it's not set. And then because it is wire, you will be able to adjust it. So at the moment it looks something like so, which is a lot longer than theirs, by the way, a lot longer. I mean, theirs, when you look from the front, you can't hardly see them. Maybe I can make this one a bit shorter. Probably go around it a few times. Give it a bit more of an area to stick on it anyway. Keep moving this piece. And then when that's dry, I'll alter it. Do the same with this one. So we have the smaller one going in here. Something like so. And the larger one I'm just going to twist around a bit more to make it a little bit shorter. Which means that they'll probably be closer to the same length, but hey, I reckon you're meant to cut it in half. They don't really tell you to do that, so who knows. I'll just leave that to take. Maybe we need to have that end closer to the window itself. You're not going to see it much, are you? Really? Same with this. Let's turn it around. So that long part of the wire is running near the window strip. Okay, let's leave both of those to take, and then we get them all separated out and tidied up. Okay, so while those are having their moment, I need to turn these ones, sorry. Can't obviously leave them alone for 2 seconds. These tweezers have to go in for cleaning. Just leave them to do their thing right now. And let's start making this other one. And this might be, oh, we'll see, not too bad on time. Only because I didn't record half of it, so you kind of missed that. Okay, and all I have to do is get this back out the pot. Good times. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to carry on with the B7000 rather than the wood glue that I prefer, and this one looks to be a lot more straightforward, I think. So we start with this piece here, with this one going in, and then 2 smaller side pieces. So give that, just have some glue on there. Really should have thingied these, sanded them down. Glue all over me. Turn that piece around. It's very chipped. Okay, and then we turn it up, I think, and we put this piece on top like so that's what I'm gathering. So I'll get that done and I'll be back. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is use B7000 for going here with the windows. So you want your bigger window with this at the top. Does it have any markings on it? It does. It has slight markings for where the window is going to go. I think my camera's moved too. It's gone over again, hasn't it? Right, let's do it that way. So it just sits on top. And then it'd be the same with these ones with the pattern towards the top, and it does have decorative edges again. So like so. Probably could have used some glue to have joined them if you wanted. But I think we're going to be okay because we're going to be putting the top on too. And just making sure it's around the right way. Like so. And then I'm just going to run a bead all the way along on this one. Right, and this one needs 3 lights. Oh, I just found out, so I'm going to need to make some more, but we can get this off. It also takes 2 strips and I only seem to have 1, so hey. I will need to check the box. She's so whiny today. Honestly, I know it's because I went out yesterday. I mean, other way around. This stuff is all quite loose fitting. It's definitely is needing glue. Don't bend that. Take those in. So a little bit on the crooked side. Oh, that's not what it needed. Just going to go again because I'm about to get delivery. I know this. I might be driving off. I don't know where he's going. Right, and then you have 2 strips, 1 on each side. Like I say, I seem to only have 1. I think he's driven off. Probably driven off with my parcel. Okay. And then a strip, like I say, down either side. Goodness, Jen. Almost called her Jen. And it goes all the way down. Something like so. We're going to have a look for that other strip. All I'm going to be doing is doing the same strip on the other side. So it looks something like so. Line that all up. Let's see if I can find out. This window is like bowed. Get that sorted. Right, and it'll end up looking something like so. So I'm going to go ahead, so this is the top. I'm going to go ahead and get the one light in that I have, and I'm going to treat that as the long light, which goes on this side. I found a couple of these strips left over, so I don't know if I've got an extra one or if I've nicked it from something else I was meant to have been using it for. So I'll do that, and I'll go and make another couple of small ones. Interesting though, huh? Maybe one of them doesn't have lights. Actually, one of them does not have lights. That's what I've done wrong. So I need to get the lights back off of one of them. These two small ones that I made, one of them does not have any lights on it. So let's see if I can steal them. Okay. Because it's on the roof, it's not going to overly show. And this one says it has two short and one long, so I was going to wrap these around a bit more to make them how they kind of should look, I guess, and get them put in. And this will be the one that we treat with no lights. I assumed that was on me, so we don't have to make any more. I assumed incorrectly that the two window ones were identical as far as lights went. Okay. That B7000 on me, which is never a good thing. Alright, so I left those all overnight because I was getting rather frustrated with them, and they ended up looking alright. My three lights were all different sizes, but that's okay. And then this one with the two lights, again they're the same size, one's meant to be shorter, and then the last one with no light, which is a bit strange to me, but it's what they say. So now we're going to get on with the bits and pieces which are going to go inside, so we get to do those quite quick, which is rather nice. So we use, first of all, let's get this part together. Let me move those off of my paper. I'll leave that just for a little bit, but then we can do without it for a little moment or two. Right, let's see, where are we? We're using these and this and that tiny piece of wood in here, and what we're doing is we're making a cake stand. Of all the things to make is a cake stand, which I think will look rather delightful. Got nothing against this, and we're using some of my favourite items that you get in these models. We're using the strips, which end up looking like cakes and things, so quite looking forward to that. Okay, can't get you through the hole. Guess I should have pre-tested that, huh? There we go. Just a little bit of effort. Juliet goes on her first walk today with the other dogs. So, I was getting so frustrated with those windows yesterday. So I literally put it down, walked away. Sometimes I think you just have to do that with a model. I think you have to realise when the model's getting the better of you, and that's what was happening. So a new day, new start, and that's how we're going to start off, and that can just sit there and do its thing. Next we are going to make the frame for our little cake stand, which is going to be out of wire, and this is quite thick wire, which is good. So we need to make two of these, and we need 50mm. So I brought everything out, I thought, except for the ruler. Let's get that ruler. So 5 centimetres, about 2 inches if you're doing it with that measurement. I don't always remember to say the equivalent, I know. Although these days probably most people work in, all models in millimetres, aren't they? Pretty certain they are. Because most of them are such small parts that kind of has to be. Okay, these are rather crooked, so I'm going to need to try and get this one a bit straighter. Or I could have chosen the other end, I guess. So, like so. Put that to one side. Let's straighten this up a little bit before we curl it. So it is quite bendable, which is handy. So before I wrap it around there, I'm going to get the ends of it done, because what I don't want to do is skimp over it. No, I don't want to ruin the shape once I bend it, that's what I meant. Nothing to do with skimp over. So we're going to take something like this, you probably use your tweezers, and all we're doing is bending them outwards, like so, and into themselves. So it's a bit like that, and you do that on both ends, making sure it's going in the same direction. So I'm just going to get a bit more right on the end this time. Whoops. And go all the way in, like so, and straighten it out. And I knew that would happen, which is why I did it that way. And get this one, do the same. These are a little bit smaller than what my bends are. Obviously, probably not as good as the experts there who make the pictures. That was a bit better. And again, just make sure that they are facing the same way. Let's see, one of mine's longer than the other. Then we take this and we bend it over, so opposite side. If you've done the bends first, opposite side. So roughly in the middle and all the way down, so it ends up looking something like so. And same with the other one. Now, because this one's a smaller one and this one's slightly bigger, I'm going to put this one on first onto our cake stand. So again, just using this ring. I don't know if this ring gets used for anything else, but it was certainly used for this. So on this one, my bends moved. Oops. I certainly don't have them even. Okay, keep hold of this piece. Don't know if we're going to need that again. Right, and then let's move this back a second. I'm going to use the smaller one, and all that's going to do is go down either side. So it's got a couple of notches here, which would have been better if it had matched up with the ones underneath. Although I'm not sure how much that's going to matter. And we are going to glue it either side going up, so it's like that. So you can bend this, which is just as well. So I'm going to get it started. I use B7000, it's metal in B7000, definitely works quite well for metal. And then a bit more on this side as well. And then I'm just going to bend it into place. Especially if I can get some glue out and the pin wants to stop stabbing me, because that's what pins do. Even pins, words are hard. Not that I feel it particularly when things are trying to hit me like that. And get that in, get it a little bit higher. So the first one looks something like so, and then just get that quite strong glue today. So it's the smell is there, that's for sure. And then do the same with the other one, going over the top. actually even see a notch for these, do I? Maybe my eyes are misbehaving now. So about even, so it crosses the bar. I can see one at the top here. And again, then I'm going to put that on. So it roughly goes something like so. And that's our cake stand done. Ready for us to put some cakes on it. Get that bit lower. So something like so, which I think looks alright. And then let's put this back for a second, but we will need it again. Alright, so then we take these and we want about 3mm, and from the one with the red, so there's one which looks like this, a few more like dots in the brown part at the bottom, and we want 4 slices of that, and we want 3 of this one. So they want to be about 3mm each. So let's see, probably about here. And this is going to be our cakes for our cake stand. I love this stuff. I don't know why. I mean, it's not any particular reason. So there's 4 of those ones, and then 3 of these, about the same sort of size. And you are arranging these ones to go on the top layer, and these ones to go on the bottom. So then get rid of those, put those with that ring that I don't know if we're going to need again. I'll probably need this. And let's put the bottom ones in first, and that will be our cake stand done. Just got to see how I want to do it. So you want it with the red part really pointing upwards if you can. So I'm going to just put a little bit on. If I can get it in the tweezers, right? On here, so that's 1. Got to love alarms. Reminds me to do things. Two. Rather cute, isn't it? I'm just going to put it now on here because again. Oops, I almost used the wrong one. So I'm just literally going around that edge here. Squeeze in there. And last one for the bottom. Don't suppose you see much of this at all, but it's pretty cool to make anyway. It's going to go in one of those windows. Okay, and then we have our 3. Rather it be 4 at the top here, but I guess it's going to struggle to fit in there. Okay. So make sure I've got enough glue inside. And these ones you want the yellow side down. And push it under as much as you can. cute, isn't it? You all know it is. I guess it would only fit 3. You could, I guess, have put them on the wood first, but I think it would have been quite difficult to have done. And that is our cake stand done. So let's have a quick look at that when I get this lid through. Wait, it was the eyes. It is the eyes, isn't it? We know it's the eyes. Also needs cleaning on the top here. That doesn't probably help. Okay, let's have a look at our little cake stand so you can see it a bit closer. And that's what we ended up with, which I think looks quite delightful. How cool is that? Nice little thing. So you don't need to put it too far away. We are going to be using it quite quickly. And then we are going to make a violin and violin stand, which you have these 2 pieces. You want them joined just at the top here. So again, I would say use something else, but for speed we will use this. And we just want to join them here so that they are at an angle. Could have put glue down the bottom too, but maybe I should have. A nice little strand, and have that together at an angle. I'm going to make our violin and put our violin on there, and we'll be using that almost straight away as well. And we've done the worst part of this area, the lights, to be honest with you, which they haven't even got us to do yet, but they will be. So, and then our violin, and they have the, oh, I can't think what it's called, the bit that goes across. You all know what it is. It's just me, I'm sure. They have it more upright than that, like so, and that goes in the stand. Which we can give it its shape a bit better once it's in, maybe. Probably going to have to use some different tweezers soon. So you want it to be in front of the violin. It's going into quite a small area because it goes on that windowsill. So something like so. Very cute. Mine's very much at an angle, but a bit better. Okay, next we are going to make a cup and some boxes. Let's pop that to one side. Okay, so 2 things to do here before we do the boxes. I'm going to use this again. We are going to put this cake on a plate. We are. It's rather a cute little cake too. In there. And you can see you're not going to end up using these. And then we've got a very, very dainty cup here with some little gold trim to it. And we are going to put our cappuccino love heart in the top, which is very tiny. I'm glad I didn't have to cut this out, and it was a stickery type thing. Not a sticker, but a push out. Okay, that goes sit there. And then we have these two. This one seems to be folding quite well, and I know one of these broke when I got it out the form. But so normally I would do it with my marker, but somebody suggested it with the crafter knife. Now I know, because I accidentally did it, that if I do it with the crafter knife the right way round, it's not going to work. So I'm going to try the back of the crafter knife and see if that works out okay. evidently it does a crisper edge than the pointy, but I don't know what difference it would make. I think the problem is that my blades are really quite sharp because I put new ones in all the time. And then I can see there's going to have one on here. And I think it's making like little bags. And go all the way around. So I need to make 4 of these all together. So I make one, and then I'll get and do the others. And then we've got a few more bits to do, and we can start putting them in those dry windows now. I feel a bit better about this model today. I think those windows got the better of me. I think that's the important thing with models. If it gets to the stage where you're not actually enjoying trying to put them together because the struggle is real, then bear that in mind. So for this, I'm not going to use this glue there. I'm just going to use a little bit of tacky because that works quite well for this sort of thing. I'm not sure where my little stick is. Oof. I don't know where my little bit of paper is either. I've got a small piece of greaseproof somewhere. Just get another one then. Okay, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit of tacky up here and up the way, and we get these made. So what we are doing is folding those edges in like so, and up, and then each of the sides will join them. I'm not sure that the blade, I'm sure you're probably meant to use the sharper end or something, but I know that I have gone through it accidentally before now, so yeah, my phone's on a roll right now. And then some on the other side too. I was going to do one side, but I don't think I can. And then pop that upwards. And put this one in. Problem with any glues on these papers is they do make the paper go soggy, so you need to move pretty quick. This one doesn't want to go in at all. I think I'll go back to my stick. I tried. And then you want a tiny bit of the top if it's not staying together. I think mine's staying together just from the glue on the sides, and that's what you will end up with, and you need 4 of those. So I'll get and do those, and those will be done. What else do we need to do? We then need some bits and pieces. Need to do this, so we're going to need all of this. And I don't know, I think we only need 2 of these for this part of the build, but we obviously need the rest of it too. And for this, all we're doing is put in our frame, which is wood, so I could use wood glue for this part, or beacon. Certainly doesn't need to be B7000. This will still take quite quick, and I want to wear it at the same time. And put that over the side, and that's going to go, that bigger window, that's going to go at the bottom of there, because that one doesn't have the sign like the others do at the top. This is going to go on the bottom, so I'm assuming this one's going to be seen a bit more. Something like so. So the actual paper's a little bit bigger than this. Anyway, so that's that done, and that will be everything done for these windows once I've done these. So let me get those done and I will be back. Okay, I've just done the two for now. I'll come back and do these other two in a moment, one of which has a broken piece anyway, but I will come back and do it in a moment. So I think what they were saying, actually, hindsight, is the difference between these. So this doesn't work, this tool here doesn't work so well on the corrugated type roof stuff, whereas the blade would probably work better, and it'd probably be fine to use the sharper end of the blade and it'd give crisper edge. So I don't think they meant for it to be used on paper items, so I think I just got that wrong. That's what I think, because it didn't overly work on that part. Alright, so let's get this stuff in. So the one with the lights, the little one with the lights, so you got two here, dangly dangly, and I did straighten them up and things like that for them. This one is going to have the cake tower and our little bunny that's here, and is that going to have the fork? Something has the fork, I don't think it's these. I think it's going to be the big window. Okay, so we want the cake stand in on this side, and the bunny on this side. Pretty sure it's a bunny. It's quite a bit bigger than the shelf. And then our little bunny here. Yeah. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to sort this cake stand out because it's not really doing its thing. Not doing what it should be doing. That's a bit better. Okay, so those are in like that. Okay. And the other small one has gifts on this side and the violin on this side. So again, just going to put some on here and put our violin in facing outside. And one of the big parcels, I'll buy a small parcel. And this is one with no lights. Might have been easier to have made that before it went in. That goes something like so. And followed by our, I'm not sure what it is. Followed by our something. Okay, this one here. And it goes with the two curved sides down. I actually really don't know what it is either. And it goes just on the top of it, like so. So it looks like that from the front. So let's stand that up. I'm starting to wonder if the dogs know the tone of the dog walker now, because they just got all excited and my text just went off. Okay, so for this window we are going to have a book on this side. It was keen to get in, so our book goes in here. Again, B7000 probably is a little bit overboard for this. Followed by our cup of whatever, coffee, and our cake, and two bags in the corner. So, which was it? Coffee first, wasn't it? Yeah. Too easily, I've got stuff on. And all we've got left to do is put the fork in and this sign. And these just sit in the corner, and I'll get those other two made up Once I've let the dogs go, and then a fork going to go on this side in between the two of them. Tiny thing, careful not to lose it. You want it upright, it appears, so something like so. Something like this. Could have done with going over a little bit, I think, but the principle's okay. Okay, and then gift shop sign. And then we'll probably call it for today for this one. And so roughly about even. Something like so. I'll make up these other two bags and then I'll let you know what we got coming up after the dogs have gone. Alright, and that is what we ended up with for today. So we made the 3 windows eventually, all the things to go inside, and I think that looks absolutely fine, pretty good actually. The cake could have done with it showing a bit more, I think, than what it would with the effort that went into it, and how cute it looks. Still really pleased with how my cake stand turned out. Just a shame you don't see too much of it, but hey. Right, what do we have coming up? So that is all for this section. Next we are going to be making a door, and then it looks like a cabinet which has gifts, and then a cake cabinet and a cash register. So again, quite a big step. I don't know how much we get done in one day, but we will give it a go. I think this isn't going to be the quickest build in the world, by the way. I think it's going to have a moment to take, but once it's done, it's done. These now can go on the tray of little pieces, which aren't so little pieces, they're quite big pieces really, and I will get the rest ready to start on day 3. So hopefully you have enjoyed that and get a good idea of what's going on, and making sure your patience levels are there, unlike mine obviously. Any comments are very much appreciated, and I'll always get back to you. And do please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does mean the world to me. Thank everyone for their support for the channel. I know some of you have been around from pretty much day 1, or within a week or so, so very much appreciate you still tagging along and watching the videos of various builds. Biggest thing, take care of you. Take care guys, I will see you on day 3. Take care, bye bye.